Hey everyone, I'm Rain101 and I am the Skeptical Mystic. And it's been a while since I put out an episode or video or whatever, a reading. Things have been pretty busy around here, but I'm looking forward to getting more of these in the bag and out there to you. So we are kicking things up a notch. One of the things that's happened is I've gotten a few more decks. And so this is going to be a blend of some decks you might already be familiar with from previous readings and some new ones that you've definitely never seen before. So I'll give you kind of like a primer on which each of these are, and then we'll get into the actual reading. So first off, we have the Steampunk Tarot deck, which has been a mainstay in the channel for all 5 of my videos or whatever. It's very cool. It's kind of dark. I like it. It suits me really well. I got 2 new tarot decks, and those are going to be the ones that are kind of featured here. One is the Marseille Cat Tarot, which is wonderful. All of the cards have cats on them. Because I'm moving into a lot more sort of tarot, like I'm gonna need a lot more time sort of like looking things up as I get used to reading tarot specifically. Like, one of the things I like about Oracle decks is they usually come with books that help you like understand what the fuck you're reading. And I don't understand what the fuck I'm reading yet. Next up is going to be the Empyrean, which is another sort of like mainstay. These gorgeous, thick, holographic cards. Next up is Tarot Art Nouveau, another new deck that I just got that is Art Nouveau styled. It's too bright. Whatever. You'll see them. You'll see them when they come up. Rainbow Brain Skull remains and will probably always be here. And then finally, the Twildick Tiddlywink tarot deck that belongs to my wife. Also another sort of like dark, introspective kind of tarot. And that means because we have 6 decks that we are jumping up to a D6 to determine which deck we're going to be pulling from. So the question of the day really for me, for my wife, and if you know anything about the channel, usually it's like if I'm thinking about it, I feel like other people are thinking about it. And the thing for us has been sort of a, should I stay or should I go? Not with our marriage, but maybe that's what you're looking at. But we've both been sort of put in situations where that's the question we're asking. Like, for us, it's with our jobs. You know, we have a lot of promising sort of like ideas and things that we want to pursue and all of this sort of stuff. And so we're kind of caught in this, like in this spot where we're like, do I want to keep this job? Is this what I want to keep doing? Is this how I want to be living my life? And so that's going to be sort of what we're dwelling on and focusing on, here today is, should I stay or should I go? Should I keep doing what I've been doing or should I change things up? So often in our lives, we hesitate when maybe we feel like we shouldn't be, right? Or we have a hard decision and there's a lot of pros and cons, and so many that it's hard to kind of like go, oh, okay, that's what we should do. Yes, I should accept that money and not accept that rabies. You know, like, it's never that cut and dried. So that's the question that we're going to be looking at today. Should I stay or should I go? Maybe it's a relationship, maybe it's a job, maybe it's something else entirely that you're going to attribute to this reading. And it's springtime, baby. It's time for change. This is normally when we're like, yes, okay, mix it up. Like, clean everything off, right? Tabula rasa my whole life if I have to, right? To sort of get a little bit of clarity. But it's not always that easy. You know, we're mostly probably adults wrestling with some really complicated sort of decisions. So even though it's spring and we might have that spirit of change in the air, you know, is it really the right choice? So let's get to our first card, our past card. And that's going to come from Steampunk Tarot. Steampunk Tarot loves to make an appearance here in my readings, and I feel like it's not a real reading unless Steampunk Tarot makes it in, which I think is kind of cool. It's kind of fun. This is probably my favorite deck, and 11 here, Justice, is going to be the first card that comes out. Let's read what Barbara Moore has to say about the Justice card. Her gaze looks right through you, into the very core of your soul, shining a light on your motivations and intents. Stones and gems and crystals, tokens of your actions, fill one side of the scale. A feather floats gently on the other, the weight of a pure heart and clean soul. Compared to our earthly humanness, how can the scales ever balance? Karmic justice is a complex matter. The equation comparing stones and feathers is a delicate balance. This is no simple operation. She must take into account every past experience, every thought and hope and fear, all your darkness and all your light, and mix it with the lessons your soul has determined to learn in the lifetime. So many variables could create a cluttered, indecipherable mess, but her scales are precise and her objectivity complete. The end result, the final judgment, is the perfect result of your own decisions. The cards that fall from her hand are the ones you selected. When justice appears in your reading, it is a reminder that your actions have created your present situation. If you are not happy with the current state of things, examine your intentions, motivations, and decisions with the clear and objective eyes of justice. Measure your actions against your ideal. The notion that your present actions create your future is always true. This is an ongoing cycle. But if this card shows up, it's letting you know that now is a pivotal time. Whatever you're considering doing in this situation has greater ramifications than you may have realized. If you're feeling that something in your life isn't fair, this card will be a gentle reminder that you shouldn't look within. This card will be a gentle reminder that you should look within before blaming others or fickle fate for your current challenges. Likewise, if you are worried that someone else is getting away with something and you want to ensure that they pay for their crimes, the Justice card lets you know that you don't need to worry. The universe has it under control and does not need your help at this time. You have enough on your plate keeping your own karma in order. So, this is our past, right? This is how we arrived at the spot that we're at now, where we have this sort of pivotal decision to make. And it's saying all of the decisions that you've made have led up to this point. And maybe, just maybe, you're not looking at whatever quandary, whatever question you're looking at thoroughly enough. That's my reading from this. If the past is leading us to the next card, the present, it's saying we need to take equal measure of all of the decisions that have led us here. So if it's your job, where did you like make the decision to start working at this job? What decisions have you made that have led you to want to leave? What decisions have others made, right? But really looking inward, what has motivated you to get to this point? What has motivated you leading all the way up to this? If it's a relationship, the same way. I was talking with my wife about her job and her situation, and this exact concept came up of like, there was once a time where this is something that I really treasured and cherished and was, as she put it, an oasis in a desert that she was in. And so she's moved from being very grateful for this job and very happy about this opportunity to a different place. She's been there for a few years and now her relationship with it is different. And it's really easy sometimes to lose track of where we came from that led us to this point. How could I ever get into this situation? You might ask yourself, not remembering all of the things that you did that were the right choice at the right time to get into this situation. So justice here is saying your past is not just the immediate, right? Your past is not just, how did I get it here into this job? Like, why did I ever get into this relationship? Why did I ever put myself in this situation? It's slowing down and actually asking and answering that and remembering along the way the different feelings you've had about this situation and how they all fit into the balance of your present. When I got the job that I'm at, that I was struggling with recently, I was ready to quit yesterday. When I got the job, I was like, yes, this is awesome. I like the pay. It's close to home, right? There's all of these reasons. It's kind of new and small, and that gives me a lot of opportunity to sort of like put my mark on things. And now, a few months later, I have a very different relationship, and I've already kind of forgotten, like, I started off feeling one way. And now in very short order, I'm feeling a different way. That doesn't mean that either feeling is wrong, but it does mean that both of those feelings should play a part in my next step, in my understanding of the present. If it's a relationship, if it's a friendship, if it's something like that, a business arrangement, try to remember the feeling you had when it was first brought into your life. When you first met that person who you would go on to have a romantic involvement with, or would go on to have a financial relationship with as business partners or whatever it was, try to remember that feeling. Were you excited about it? What excited you about it? What were you looking forward to in it? And have you maybe lost track of that along the way? Which isn't to say, like, if you're in a terrible situation, you shouldn't get out of it. It's just saying, stop and reflect fully on the full scope of it and try to be objective about the process that led you to the point of questioning here in the present. That's going to be different for all of you. And it might just be like, yep, I remember I had a job. The job I had before this one was great. I loved it. It was perfect. And then my supervisor left. And my supervisor was the glue who held the whole place together. And so when she was there, it was awesome. And when she left, she was replaced by someone who sucked. They were just fucking awful. And it changed the whole scope of the environment, right? And so sometimes you can look back at that point and go, okay, it was great. And Justice is saying, what made it great? What made it great that maybe now is missing? And is that something that, you know, maybe you had some involvement in? Like with my boss leaving, it was nothing to do with me. It was everything to do with the organization and how they treated her and all of this sort of stuff, right? How much they paid her, all of this. But how did that affect me? How did my relationship to the work change as a result of her leaving? And how much of my next boss sucking was a direct result of my first boss being really good? And the sort of like intention I might have misattributed to her, or pressure that I might have put on her that was impossible for her to meet. Was I meeting her where she was at, or was I comparing her to my old boss? I think about this all the time. So Justice is saying, think about this. Think about all of it coming together to lead you to this present. And that's going to be our next card. So let's roll and see what that's going to be. And that is a 2. That is going to be our kitty cat tarot, making its first appearance and jumping out really quickly with the Knight of Chalices. That's going to be the Knight of Cups. So give me a second to pull up some information on that. This is a great card in a lot of different ways, not least of all the card art itself that, it's going to be right here. What am I pointing it at the camera for? It's going to be right here. So you've arrived at a present where you're ready to act, where you are feeling maybe more confident than you did before, more self-assured, where maybe there's a creative outlet that's pulling you in a certain direction. And you know that this is a time for action. It's spring. You've gotten all the way to this point and you're starting to ask the question, do I need to change? Do I need to do something different? Do I need to pursue a different opportunity? Do I need to pursue a different relationship? Do I need to pursue something else? And chances are good that it is something that is emotionally driven, that it's kind of maybe romantic, not like in the smoochy sense, but in the sort of like dramatic sense, right? Of high romance, of intrigue, of, you know, grand gestures, of emotional gestures, right? You maybe had this moment of like, I know I can do better. I know I'm better than this. I know that something great is waiting for me out there if I just reach out and seize it, right? If I take the action, if I do the thing. But that also comes with trepidation. And the Knight of Cups here is saying, trust yourself, trust your intuition, trust that emotional drive here in the present. You in the present are strong and confident and ready to act. And that's what kind of brought you here, right? You're like, if you're asking the question, you probably kind of have an inkling for the answer. None of us like change that's scary, but all of us like change that has promise and potential. So as you're weighing, how did I get here? You should also be thinking about, how did I become who I am here, right? How did the past decisions that I made lead me to the point where I'm asking this question? With my wife, she started off not knowing anything about the field and industry that she's working in. And it turns out she's really fucking good at it, right? And so it's developed her confidence in herself. It's made her feel like, yeah, I'm capable. I'm more capable than the people around me, some of who have so much more experience than me, right? And maybe I should be thinking of bigger and better things for myself. Maybe I shouldn't be whipped around by a boss that doesn't know better than I do, but acts like they do, right? For me, in my situation, it is, I know I'm like awesome at the things that I do. Am I going to stay at a place that maybe doesn't see that yet? Or, risk it to find something different, something that maybe is going to allow me to express my creativity a little bit better, is going to allow me to step into myself a little more fully, right? And the Knight of Cups is sitting here saying, yes, lean on that feeling. And whether you make the decision, that's going to be our sort of future and Crux cards, whether you make that decision to leave, hold on to that feeling. Here in the present is where you're most sort of like at your most charming, right? At your most willing to act, at your most assertive, at your most self-confident. And so no matter what, hold on to that feeling here in the moment. Know your worth. Take like real stock in your sense of self, because it is what is leading you to this question, this sense of, I am exactly as good as I think I am. I am worth so much, and I know exactly how much I'm worth, and I'm not going to settle for less than that. And that's a feeling you should hold on to for as long as you can, because we know how quickly that kind of confidence and sense of self can be fleeting. So even if you don't make the choice to change, right? You measure the weights and balances of all the pros and cons, and you say, you know what? Maybe staying in this situation is the right thing for me, but, right? There's this but of something still needs to change. So I'm going to stay at this job, but I'm going to really step into my own here. I'm really going to assert myself. I'm really going to push for the thing that I want. Change is going to happen, right? Whether it's dramatic change or subtle change, right? Dramatic in the sense of like I'm quitting my job or I'm breaking up with my partner, or subtle, I'm going to make sure that I'm getting my due. I'm going to make sure that my coworkers see the fullest of myself, right? That my partner understands that they're going to need to step it up, to make sure that we have this happy back and forth partnership, right? Hold on to that. That's you in the present. You right now are at your strongest, at your most sort of charming, at your most driven, at your most self-confident. So here we are. We're taking measure of all the different things. We're trying to be objective about the things that have led us here. But here in the moment, we're passionate, we're enthusiastic, we're self-confident, we're driven by like that passion and a romantic sort of sensation. So where does that take us into the future? Let's find out. Oops. That came up as a number 6. So that's going to be our Twildick Tarot here. Our Tiddlywinks guy has often made appearances as well. This is a fascinating, very kind of gloomy, introspective sort of deck. So I'm very curious what it is going to have in store for us. Whoops. Two came out. So that's going to be the 9 of Cups and Fortitude. This 11 here is Fortitude rather than Justice. That's very interesting. But let's have a look at what these two cards together have to say. Interesting. Okay, let me read these two cards out for you guys. And I'll give you my reading having like sort of glanced at it. So the garden itself represents an unprotected place. In the world outside the safety of our cocoons, we find people and situations that we have to deal with, from pesky mosquitoes to poisonous vipers. The lion is the fiery passion and power we have to deal with these things, but it must be tamed to be useful. Its mouth is closed and its razor-sharp claws are hidden behind the garden wall. In this capacity, it provides us with courage, minus the violence, to meet our challenges. It gives us an inner strength, minus the arrogance, to remain steadfast, patient, and tolerant. This is a power we must control. Otherwise, we will be controlled by it. The wren symbolizes that strength sometimes comes in humble packaging. They remind us that it is okay to speak up and do it loudly, as long as what you say isn't just used to shred someone out of anger, like the lion's teeth and claws. Justice, rather than pride, should be the goal. The image of a bird perched on the edge of a green pool with a dry lion's fountainhead on the other side of the pool is a very calming image, possibly showing the calm control that can be achieved by looking deep within ourselves. The wren is not frightened or threatened at all. It's standing there in the full awareness that the lion isn't going to harm it. That's where the usual meaning of the strength card comes in. It's that quiet confidence in being safe and in control. Despite the presence of powerful forces, the lion is weighed down by the hefty lintel stone above him, which keeps his power in check. And then the Nine of Cups. Nine of Cups. 9 lovely decanters of perfume are lined up across a dresser. Smell can flood us with memories, change our mood, and even influence our work performance. Our sense of smell is connected to the olfactory bulb, a part of the brain's limbic system that is often called the emotional brain. Our brains forge a link between a smell and memory. When we encounter the smell again, the memory associated with it is recalled and produces an emotion. Here in these decanters are various moods we can choose from: the woodsy smell of confidence, the spicy smell of sensuality, the citrusy smell of focused energy, the fresh floral smell of an exciting beginning. These fragrances remind me that we do have some choice in the emotions we apply. Like smell, what we do and concentrate on can flip a switch in the mood department. In this card, there is a sense of contentment and satisfaction because we realize whose hand controls that switch. It is a full, satisfied feeling, like eating a delicious meal that sates our appetite. But the smell of perfume once applied won't last forever. Like that wonderful food that made us feel well fed, we become hungry once again. While pleasurable, our feel-good feelings are only temporary. In addition, we still need to address those secret longings tucked away in the drawers of that dresser. On another note, quality perfumes are expensive. To acquire a sizable collection like this suggests that one is living comfortably. All the basic needs for survival have been met. Now it is time to satisfy the desire for deeper happiness and enjoy the finer things in life. So, these two cards coming up together is really sort of very interesting to me. We get a different version of justice, right? We get justice in the past and we get fortitude in the future. Along with this Nine of Cups that is about sort of pleasure and emotions and how we apply those emotions, right? So if we're coming out of the present into the future with this confidence, right? With this checked confidence, we move into that future as the wren, right? We've taken that lion, that's that cat, right? And we've tamed it. We've taken all that passion that I was talking about before, and we've focused it, we've harnessed it, and we've pointed it in exactly the direction that it needs to go, right? And we've also developed that next other sort of piece of the puzzle, which is the wren, right? The strong, but humble, right? If the Knight of Cups is big and strong and capable and boisterous and a knight, right? We're not the page, we're not kind of naive or just starting out, but we're also not the king, right? We're not like cool, calm, and collected. We're right there sort of in the middle in that peak of our virility and youth and the power of this feeling. And now as we move into the future, we've taken the best parts of it and we've honed it. We've taken the decision that we're making in the present and leading it into a situation where we have honed our passion, we have focused our aggression, right? And now we're starting to take a look at all of those emotions that we're feeling here and applying them in the right way. So this is telling me, in terms of should I stay or should I go, that honestly, the decision is less about whether you stay or go, but about how you and this decision develop you as a person. It doesn't really matter whether you stay or go. It's about what your decision making leads you towards. And if the decision to stay or go leads to you subsuming your confidence, leads to you humbling yourself in an unhealthy way, then that is not the right decision. The right decision is the one that's going to lead you in the direction of honing your confidence into something even greater, even sharper, even more focused, even more ready to be applied judiciously, but intentionally. You're also learning to take that unbridled feeling and bridle it a little bit, bottle it up, but not in the way that's like unhealthy, push those emotions down. It's about compartmentalizing them. There's a time and a place for my indignant rage, right? There's a time and a place for my euphoric joy. There's a time and a place for despondency and sadness. And it's about letting those emotions out of the bottle at the right time and knowing when it's time to leave those feelings on the shelf. They're always there. You don't need to uncork that anger bottle every time you're angry. You can temper it. You can hone it. You can charge it into something that is going to serve and benefit you. So if you're going to stay in this relationship, or if you're going to stay at this job, or whatever it is, then it should be something that a decision that you make knowing that it is going to lead to this kind of personal growth for you. That's going to lead to you honing that passion, that fire, that feeling that is leading you to, has led you to this point, and taking a better approach to it. All things in life grow us, right? But sometimes they diminish us. They grow us in a direction that maybe isn't healthy for us, right? And so maybe that's not even the right word, right? They develop us. And this is saying, choose the thing that's going to develop you in a healthy way. That's going to take all of the good qualities of you and temper them and hone them and sharpen them into into that fortitude, right? Into the strength and resiliency of that's within you. So maybe you have been approaching this with that passion, with that energy, with that fire, and with that confidence. And maybe it's maybe a little overblown. Maybe it's a little directionless, right? You're saying, should I stay or should I go? And the real question is, how do I change? How do I take this feeling and make it turn into something positive for me? I want something different. I want something better. I want to grow and develop in ways that are going to turn me into the wren, that are going to, the lion is there and it's ready and it's there when I need it, but it's not always needed. Sometimes I want to just be the humble wren. The anger, the passion, the confidence, the sensuality, the whatever, that's always there. And there will be a time to pull it out of the bottle. And so when you're thinking about the decision that you're trying to make, think about that. Think about what is going to give me the opportunity to become more, sharper, better than I am now. With my job, that's there. I could potentially stay here at this new developing place and do the thing I originally set out to do, which is develop my skills and demonstrate the skills that I've developed over a decade of social work, right? That chance is there. And it might give me the opportunity to become an even better version of the person that I am now. I could also leave and find a different place, but am I going to make that choice? And if I don't know that it's going to let me experience that fortitude, that it's going to help me sharpen myself? Because that's the question that we're really asking, is what decision do I make that's going to lead me down the path of personal growth and development? And that's going to take us to our Crux card. That's going to be kind of the answer to how all of this comes together, of how this feeling leads to this, what I need to do to make sure that I wind up in the spot that I want to be in. And that's going to be Rainbow Brain School. Bless. Welcome, buddy. Art Nouveau and Empyrean, you are not making it in today, I'm sorry to say, but it's okay. There will be plenty of time for you for some other reading. Oops. And that's going to bring us to number 68, a fantastic card. And it says, being out of ideas is just another idea. You're not going to see it, but it's going to be on the screen. So let's take a look at what Rainbow Brain Skull has to say. The universe is made of pure creativity forever. There is nothing wrong with needing a break. But the thought of running out of creativity is the definition of absurd. You are made of pure creativity. What a fantastic and interesting card to pull here. Being out of ideas is just another idea. So you're here, and maybe I know I've been in this spot with this very same question of, but if not this, then what? And the answer is something, anything. Not knowing what comes next is just another part of the experience, right? Not knowing what comes next in your job, not knowing what relationship comes next, or what your relationship will develop into is just another part of being in a relationship, of being at a job, of being a human being. And maybe this is saying, going back to justice, right? That it's time to look at this question from a different point of view, from a different angle, and recognize that it's not necessarily, oh, this job sucks. Oh, this relationship is failing, or I don't want to be in it anymore. Those things might be true. Don't get me wrong, but that's part of having a job. That's part of being in a relationship. That's part of getting out of a relationship, right? We have so many ideas around what a job is and isn't and should and shouldn't be. A relationship is and isn't and should and shouldn't be. And all of those questions and those ideas and those thoughts and feelings are all part of the experience of being a person. And so this is I think, really reinforcing that this is not a question of should I do X or Y or Z? It's really a question of what is the best thing for me to develop and grow as a person? What is the thing that's going to fit me right and help me hone all of my passion, all of my creativity, all of my enthusiasm and zest for life and need for growth in a healthy way, in a way that makes us into better versions of ourselves? And maybe that is like, I am going to have the confidence to leave a long relationship that isn't working for me anymore. Maybe it's the choice to leave a job that you've been at for a long time that isn't working for you anymore. Maybe it's the choice to stay in that relationship or stay in that job and look at the ways that it's not working for you and change them. Find ways to change them. Find ways to look at them from a different point of view. I could quit my job and start over at a new place and run into the exact same problems. Because if I'm choosing to change my job rather than grow myself, I'm going to run into the same question again. If I'm choosing to leave a relationship because I don't have the skills necessary to maintain it, then you're going to get into the next relationship and you're going to have the same fucking problems, man. I did it for a decade. All of these things start with us, and this is asking us to reflect on everything that's led us here. How did I get into this mess? Honestly, feeling the feeling of enthusiasm and excitement you had when you got into this situation, the person that it's led you to be, who is confident enough to now question that situation. And now the next step is it right for me? Is it right for my personal growth, for my development? Is it going to be the thing that makes me a better version of myself? And that answer might not be obvious. That answer might not be super self-evident. We have to look at it from a different point of view. We have to recognize that the questions that we're asking are part of the process of doing the thing that we're doing. So, am I leaving because I'm afraid? And is it going to make me better to challenge that fear? Am I wanting to quit my job or end this relationship or move to a different city because something better awaits me out there? I'm not getting what I deserve. I'm not growing and thriving as a person. Or am I running away from the fact that I'm not pushing myself to grow and develop as a person? These are hard questions to ask. And this reading is telling you, ask them. Look them in the face. Look at them with objectivity. Look fully and thoroughly at the experience that you've had that's led you to this point, that's allowed you to be this person, and try to imagine the trajectory that leads you even further down the road that you've been on, into an even better version, upgrading from this knight into that king or queen, right? Into that next level of your development. Because if it's not going to make you better, it's not worth doing. If it's not a change that's going to turn into an opportunity for you to grow as a person, then it's not the right one. So that's my reading here. I hope, something in this clicked or connected with you. If it did, tell me sort of in the comments or whatever, how it made you feel and what you vibed with, what you fuck with. And, if you have a different interpretation of these cards, I'm all ears. I am still learning to read. It is always a new experience for me, and I'm definitely interested in hearing other people's interpretations of these cards, because that's going to help me in my readings and my understandings, because I'm just one person with one point of view. So thank you so much for watching, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Again, I'm Rain 101. I'm the Skeptical Mystic. It's been a pleasure, and I'll see you again next time.